for the next. Nice one. Straight down the middle. So a good performance from both teams.
Hi, this is Rupha Ramani and you're watching Firstpost. Let's get started. Now, it's the start of another week here at Firstpost, and as the festive season is upon us, so too the realization that it is nearly the end of 2023. So there is that feeling setting in of finishing things on a high, to step into 2024 riding on a wave of confidence. One football club that usually sets the La Liga stage on fire is facing the heat thanks to a drubbing they received last night for the very first time at the hands of this Catalan neighbor of theirs. We will look at Barcelona in the show, but a lot of the show is centered around the Olympics. Yes, it's a while away, but the end of the year is marked by a controversial decision already. The International Olympic Committee has given Russian and Belarusian athletes a go and is already facing the fire owing to that. We will tell you that and much more. All of that lined up on the show today, but first, of course, Sports 360. And we will begin with cricket. India beat England by 5 wickets in the third Women's T20 International. The 3-wicket hauls from Saika Ishak and Shreyanka Patel, followed by a good knock from Smriti Mandhana, led India to a consolatory win. However, England clinched the series 2-1. Pakistan beat India by 8 wickets in the Under-19 Asia Cup clash in Dubai. India put 260 on board. A classy ton by Azan Awais made Pakistan's run to the total an easy one. Tight bowling pace attack by Pakistan kept India at bay with a 4-wicket haul by Pakistan's Mohammad Zishan. On to football. Everton bagged a third consecutive league victory with second half goals, earning a 2-0 win over Chelsea at Goodison Park. The win was their second home victory in just 4 days. Things went down from bad to worse for Pochettino and Chelsea as the visiting side were unable to come up with a suitable response. Manchester City is back on track, ending their 4-game winless run. The Premier League champions survived a scare from Luton and won 2-1 on Sunday. Grealish bagged the winner, giving his team a much-needed win. Adebayo scored the first goal in the first half. Erling Haaland was absent due to injury. And Manchester United's future in the Champions League season hangs by a thread ahead of Bayern Munich's visit to Old Trafford. An early exit in Europe puts more scrutiny on manager Erik ten Hag. United's troubled campaign reached a new low after the latest 0-3 defeat at home to Bournemouth. The Red Devils sit 6th in the Premier League after 7 defeats in the opening 16 games. While there may be time to recover a place in the top 4 domestically, their need in the Champions League is urgent. All right, it's almost time now to flip our calendars to the next year, and all eyes are eagerly fixed on the French capital, Paris, where the 2024 Olympics is set to unfold. And a recent development has already got people in debates. Paris is still a while away, and this latest decision has signaled some battle lines being drawn. The grand competition, of course, starts on the 26th of July next year, and it will be a summer worth remembering. Paris organizers are going all in to make it an unforgettable experience. But as the countdown truly continues, a recent announcement by the International Olympics Committee, or the IOC, has sparked off heated discussions. The board has given a green signal to Russian and Belarusian sportspersons to participate in the Olympics. So athletes from these two nationalities who qualify in their sport can participate in the Olympics, barring, of course, track and field, as Sebastian Coe had come in and announced as well. But there's a caveat thought. They can feature in these events only under a neutral flag. A neutral flag means athletes won't be representing their own country. This can be due to specific circumstances, as in this case, for example, geopolitical issues, or in other cases where the country is sanctioned or restricted. So a neutral flag allows athletes to take part in international competitions as independents, not belonging or representing a country unlike the others. Now, in this case, it will be Russian and Belarusian athletes who will be deemed as neutrals following the war on Ukraine that Russia started. The The athletes had initially been banned from competing. Belarusian athletes were similarly barred because Belarus has close ties with Russia and helped Russian forces launch the attacks. But since then, athletes from these countries have only been allowed back into sports under a neutral status. Now, just 4 days after the war began, the IOC had suggested banning athletes and officials from these two countries. But fast forward to the present, and the committee makes this announcement.
First of all, what is maybe most important is has changed that participation of athletes with Russian and Belarusian passports in competitions and in international competitions works.
However, there are certain criteria that must be fulfilled. What are they and how rigorous are they? Let me tell you. Firstly, they must not actively support the war in Ukraine, which means no social media declarations or statements that support the war. Second, qualified athletes with a Russian or Belarusian passport will compete as individual neutral athletes or AINS. Third, they will only be allowed to play in individual events. So no team events is where they will participate in or be allowed to participate in. Fourth, Russian athletes must be cleared by the independent testing authority, which means athletes must undergo all pre-games anti-doping testing. Another criteria, of course, is athletes must not have been disqualified for a previous anti-doping violation. The fifth criteria, any neutral athlete contracted to the military is not eligible. So these are the strict conditions that will be put in place for any of these independent athletes to come forward and take part in Paris Olympics. But the IOC's decision to take a U-turn has been criticized by both Ukraine and Russia. Officials of both countries are fuming.
Neutral status is an obvious discrimination based on nationality, a violation of basic human and civil rights, which has been repeatedly pointed out over the past few months by international humanitarian experts, including UN human rights experts. It is indicative that their position is almost completely ignored.
So we've just heard the president of the Russian Olympic Committee calling the move discriminatory. They accuse the IOC members of hypocrisy for allowing Israeli athletes to compete with no restrictions.
Dear colleagues, we regard today's decision of the Executive Committee of the International Olympic Committee as an acknowledgement of their own mistake made at the time of the adoption of the recommendations of February 28, 2022 on the non-admission of Russian and Belarusian athletes to participate in international competitions. The recommendations of the International Olympic Committee, which have been in force for more than a year, are now disavowed. But the parameters and criteria announced for the return of Russians to international competitions are absolutely unacceptable.
Meanwhile, Ukraine is miffed with IOC for giving Russian and Belarusian athletes clearance. It says the International Olympic Committee is encouraging the war by letting them participate. Here's what a Ukrainian athlete had to say about these developments.
It's completely madness, and I'm totally disagree with this decision. Also, I don't really understand why IOC acting like they are blind or something like that. My goal from the very beginning, it wasn't to destroy lives of Russian athletes or destroy career of Russian athletes. I'm fully okay if they compete, but I'm not okay if they use their achievements and their participation in Russian propaganda. Because if they use it, then we have more victims in this war.
So is this going to be a bloody Olympics like Ukraine strongly believes? Or will it ensure fair participation regardless of an athlete's nationality? Now, the Olympics has been a stage for unity, a platform where all fight and compete as equals. But when it comes to politics and sports, the dynamics almost always changes. Political relationships always find a way to mar sporting events. It's happened across different landscapes and various international conflicts. Olympics has seen a number of boycotts in the past as well. Many a times it has been cancelled as well. World Wars I and II saw it happen in the years 1916, 1940 and 1944. During the 1980s, as many as 65 countries boycotted the Olympics to protest the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. Somehow politics definitely creeps into sporting ties. Politics and sports almost cannot run along parallel lines. So will Paris be a showcase of unity, or will handshake snubs and other controversies take center stage? Now, India is hosting its first Para Games under the Khelo India banner. In fact, the event kickstarts today with the opening ceremony. Now, it isn't just a massive boost for para athletes in the country, but also the country's sporting culture and ethos. India organizing multidiscipline sporting events only goes to show that there is a strong focus on improving facilities and sporting infrastructure to host such mega events. And with India expressing its interest in hosting an Olympics in the near future, there is an added push by every state here to make theirs sporting rich. Today we bring you the story of Odisha and Bhubaneswar. Recently hosted India's Football World Cup qualifying game against Qatar, and it's also the first and only centre for football's governing authority, FIFA's Talent Academy in the country. There's a lot of buzz in that state regarding sporting culture, and there's enough reason to believe so.
Odisha as a state is now synonymous with hockey. The state is sponsoring both the men's and women's teams in all their endeavours, and confidently, both the teams have been doing incredibly well since the partnership began. The men's team recently won gold at the Asian Games, sealing their spot in the Paris Olympics next year. The women are yet to progress but have already taken the right steps. The women's team recently won the Asian Champions Trophy in Ranchi and are planning to seal their spot through the qualifiers which are scheduled to take place in Ranchi next month. But now, it's not just hockey that the state is getting associated with. Recently, FIFA's Chief of Global Football Development, Arsene Wenger, visited Bhubaneswar in Odisha to launch the country's first FIFA Talent Academy.
Sports is something which CM is passionate about. So he gave us the freedom to design, involve professionals, involve corporates, have a complete professional setup, but in sports always passion is required. Profession and passion may not go together, but we harmoniously blended both.
And the city boasts of state-of-the-art modern infrastructure for not just some sporting disciplines, but also centres that help in athletes' training and recovery programs. In fact, many athletes have spent time here to train at the facilities provided by the state. From India's best Olympic gold medalist Neeraj Chopra to India's rising talent Jyoti Yaraji. All of them train here before heading out to compete in events worldwide.
I want to thank to the Odisha government and Reliance Foundation. They're really providing a very good specialties and equipment. It's like international track and the gym and the nutrition and everything, so that we can reach our goals in the future. Like me, today I'm reaching in the Asian Games medal, so that we can go forward to the Olympics and everything. For Olympics, the preparation is going very great, and I'm so excited for my next first Olympics. And yeah, I'm trying to do my best over there.
The state has hosted multiple events across sporting disciplines like the Hockey World Cup, the Asian Athletics Championships, the Para Athletics Championships, and Khelo India Games. The state authorities have also managed to tie up with various organizations and corporate houses like Reliance, JSW Sports, Aditya Birla Group, and the KJS Ahluwalia Group to ensure the athletes are taken care of and to set up high-performance centers for excellency in sports. The state is also in the process of strengthening sport at the grassroots level via camps, clinics, and sporting centers. The system in the state ensures that they're able to invest in the sporting culture and the environment.
Now, when it comes to La Liga, there are two teams that are always among the honour rolls: Real Madrid and Barcelona, the two star-studded champions who have frequently competed for the top spot. And this story is on the latter, Barcelona club, and how the high-flying Girona toppled them in what, at least I would say, was a rather one-sided affair. The biggest point of contention coming out of that loss is Lewandowski. He seems to be in the eye of the storm, not just for his performance on the field or the lack of it, but also the comments he's inadvertently making post the loss. One thing that both of us can agree on is the odds-defying Girona are truly the formidable contenders of the title, especially after they defeated Barcelona for the first time in La Liga history.
Girona reclaimed top spot in the La Liga after beating champions Barcelona 4-2. This was the second defeat of the season for Xavi Hernandez's side. Let's look at what happened during the match. Girona took the lead in the 12th minute. Robert Lewandowski netted an equalizer for Barcelona just 7 minutes later. Gutierrez restored Girona's lead before half-time and Fernandes made it 3-1 in the 80th minute. Barcelona pulled off another goal, but Girona scored their fourth in stoppage. This game came as a major blow to Barcelona, who are hailed as La Liga giants. They're the most recent winners, having won the 2022-23 edition. The loss saw several dejected fans pour their hearts out on social media. At the center of the storm is 35-year-old striker Robert Lewandowski, who fans believe is holding the team back rather than giving them a head start. Some even said the right place for him is the dugout. The former Bayern Munich forward is now going through a lean patch and is finding it challenging to find the back of the net. He's only scored 8 goals in the La Liga season and also went goalless in 6 consecutive matches this edition. But after the match with Girona, he blamed his teammates for not being able to score.
I know that we are Barcelona and everyone expects us not only to win but also to score a lot of goals. At the beginning of the season, not everything has been perfect. And of course, if we don't create a lot of chances, it's difficult to score goals.
Barcelona's manager Xavi Hernandez knew before the match his side was up against the most informed team of the season. He himself admitted that he's not taking them for granted but seemed confident.
Tenim un rival difícil, molt difícil, no? I a part de la seva capacitat, crec que estan en una confiança tremenda, estan pels núvols, estan jugant molt bé, amb un desparpajo espectacular i en aquest sentit doncs se'ns complicarà demà. Però bé, nosaltres we prepare really well the game, we train really hard. Of course it's a Girona, very difficult match tomorrow, but we are ready to compete and we want to get 3 points in our stadium.
But his confidence was crushed, that too at his home ground. This was the first time in La Liga history that Barcelona has lost to the underdog Spanish side. Girona topped the standings with 41 points from 16 games. They've even surpassed the multiple winners Real Madrid, who were held to a draw in their last match. Meanwhile, Barcelona are down in the 4th place. Barcelona, who are the 27th-time La Liga champions, were humbled yesterday. But Xavi still believes the match was evenly contested.
Una derrota, está claro. El cómo no ha sido malo. No ha sido malo la derrota. Nosotros nos cabrea la derrota porque además hemos tenido el partido en nuestras manos. No hemos aprovechado nuestros momentos y el Girona sí. Y creo que ha sido un intercambio de golpes. Por eso digo que ha sido el partido del caos, ¿no? Ellos nos han golpeado duro cuando han tenido sus momentos y nosotros no.
He also faced backlash online from fans for his responses that did not own up to the lackluster show by his team. There are usually 2 names that top the La Liga points table: Barcelona and Real Madrid. It's tough for Barcelona fans and the team to see someone else steal that spot.
And that almost wraps up our show today, but as always we leave you with our last serve. We always love watching fans get emotional when superstars greet them and do something little special. For many, it is a moment they will cherish forever. Now, India's former cricket captain MS Dhoni celebrated the world over. He made one fan extremely thrilled. Take a look.
Happy birthday, dear Rohit. Happy birthday to you. बाकी तो मेरा पार्टनर है तो हम भी खिलाएंगे थोड़ा जिस पकड़ो लगाओ पकड़ ले लो जरूरत नहीं है और किसी को लगाना है ये देखो इसको भी यार पसंद आया जो बच्चा है वहाँ लगा तो वहीं लगा तो थोड़ा बाद में लगा दो नहीं
A very candid MS Dhoni there, quite the birthday gift that fan wouldn't have expected. But that does it here on Firstpost. Thank you so much for joining in. As always, I'll see you again tomorrow at 7 p.m. for some more fresh perspectives from the world of sports. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.